Okay, we are recording. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We really appreciate you joining us. Today's presentation are on the programs that are available, both traditional and new programs for businesses and consumers. All attendees are on mute to reduce background noise so that you can all hear. If you have any questions, please ask them using the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. Those questions that are not addressed during the webinar will be addressed in writing and will be available on our website along with the PowerPoint. You will receive an email that will let you know the location of all of those materials. So with that, I'd like to turn this webinar over to Jennifer Cummings. She is FAME's Director of Business Programs. So take it away, Jen.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I know everyone's probably as busy as we are trying to roll these programs out and fielding calls from business owners. So we really appreciate you joining us today. Mila, if you can slide, great. So we're going to go over our business programs and touch briefly on a consumer program that we're also administering for the state. But just first, we hope you're all staying safe and healthy with your families and coworkers and community members. Our FAME office is closed to the public, and all of our associates are working from home with the exception of a couple people manning the office for essential items. All of our traditional programs that we have are still available, excuse me, in addition to the new COVID program that I'll go through in a moment, but all of our traditional programs are still available, including OLA and our direct FAME loans, as well as our traditional commercial underwriting programs as well. Next slide, please. So if you're finding anyone that you're dealing with, business owners that are coming into you and having issues or foreseeing upcoming issues with paying on their existing FAME loans, we are allowing for payment deferrals and interest-only requests to be submitted to expedite, especially anything under within a 90-day window. So typically, we do charge a modification fee for that. We are waiving that with the current situation that we're in. And we're asking that if you know your FAME lender that you're working with on an insured deal, to please email them directly with your request. And typically, we in the past have required a paperwork exchange with wet signatures to indicate that we've consented to that request. We are also waiving that within that 90-day time frame. So if you have anything, we are going to be going through and confirming that we accept those adjustments. Anything over that 90-day window, we are still doing loan insurance modifications, and those will be sent out from our FAME office or emailed to you, and you can sign and mail it in at your convenience. But we are pushing everyone that we are encountering to ask them if they have existing debt prior to taking out new debt. With any of our programs, we are asking them to go to their bank and discuss repayment possibilities or concessions during this time. Please, Mike. So we have a few programs that we're going to discuss. The first I'll go through is our commercial loan insurance. We have our traditional OLA product that, again, is currently available, and we've tweaked that OLA product to also include a COVID-19 directive. And then there's also a COVID-19 consumer loan program that has an insurance component as well. And then we're also offering a couple FAME direct loans. So FAME would originate the loan and have that go directly to the borrower, our channels, without the intermediary of the bank. Next slide, please. So we'll go through the loan insurance program first. So this program is available for Maine lending institutions, so banks, credit unions who lend to Maine businesses. Many of you already have existing contracts with FAME and are able to use our products. If you do not, we can certainly set you up. That process is relatively quick and just requires a copy of your loan policy and a little bit of due diligence on, can turn that and get you set up if you're not. So FAME uses an online answer system as a portion of our business that requires the banks to go in and request a loan insurance policy for a loan that they may feel the risk level is too high. And in order to mitigate that risk a little bit, they ask FAME for an insurance policy on a portion of that loan. So we have this process that I'm going to go over now, the online portal, which is an expedited approval process that we've tailored a little bit to help with the COVID-19. It's going to be using the same OLA platform that you're used to. The only exception is that there's a little box on there that you check that indicates it's a COVID-19 affected borrower. So FAME has agreed to allow loan insurance requests to be submitted for up to 75% loan insurance. The loan amounts that we are capping this at is $100,000 lender loan. So the 75% policy can be applied for through the OLA portal, checking the COVID-19 box, and our traditional algorithm-based approval will 75%. So your borrower could be approved at the 75% level. We have some lesser fees, which I'll go over in a moment. If they qualify, then you get that 75% at the discounted rate. If they don't qualify, so if our if we issue a denial on the 75% level, it's automatically going to approve 50%. So any OLA that is input into the system with the COVID-19 box checked has an automatic approval at 50%. We're the 7% to those borrowers that qualify at that discounted level of commitment fee. However, anything that comes in at 50% will be approved. So you will get that automatic answer. We'll issue the paperwork on that. We are waiving our commitment fee on this program, and we are requiring an ABA filing despite lien position. So we're asking that you take a blanket lien on business assets with UCC filing, regardless of what that looks like. We just would like some sort of security. We're thinking that owns more than a 12-month term. We obviously will work with you should you need to extend that on the back end. We are also flexible as far as payment arrangements. If the borrower wants a deferral for a period of time or interest only for a period of time, we are okay with that as well. We just want that balloon at the end of 12 months to revisit and see how this money has assisted the business owner during this time. If anyone has questions, you can certainly shoot those in through the Q&A box there. I don't see any, so we can move on. So the next slide talks about direct loans from FAME to borrowers. So we'd ask that the OLA product that I just went over is your first option. We think that if we're sharing the risk with you, that's a win for everyone. And we do have limited resources allocated to both programs. So on that CLI program, the 50% insurance that we just discussed through OLA, we've committed $10 million in reserves. And programs that are now, we've allocated $5 million to be available to lend to these two programs. So the first one I'm going to discuss is in relation and in partnership with our friends at the Small Business Administration. Sorry, I'm just reading a quick, Arlene. So we do have a question. Are liens on guarantor home required for COVID-19 approval? The answer to that is no. We will take your discretion on that through the OLA system. The next question is, does a borrower apply for an OLA loan through or the, so the portal is done through the bank. So FAME's contractual agreement is with the lending institution, and the lending institution would have that direct contact with the borrower, and we would insure the bank's loan, and our contractual agreement is with the lending institution. So if your bank is not signed up for FAME OLA, the online answer product, we can certainly get that done for you. Okay. So I did just get one more question. Someone asked, did you just say principal guarantees are not required? No, I said that personal residences are not required as collateral. Guarantees are required on all of the loans that I'm discussing, just to clarify. On the, going back to the FAME direct loans, we have partnered with the SBA on one program, and this was structured in relation to the flood disaster that occurred previously, in which the reading, because I'm gonna pause for a minute here. So the SBA program for the flood disasters was set up in an effort to help for the disaster recovery for that. And at that time, the SBA loans were approved, and then it would take a period of time, sometimes weeks, to fund the loan. The loans, the borrower needed funds more immediately. And so currently, we're setting up this program to have an interim financing to fund the SBA loans once they're that period where it may take for it to be funded. We've heard from the SBA that the timing from approval to funding is a lot shorter than it was on previous disaster recovery loans that they've initiated. So this may not be a highly used program as it was for the flood disaster, but we have it out there. We are getting a little bit of traction on it. There is a requirement that we have a commitment letter from the SBA for this program, and it is structured as a 90-day term note, and it can be funded in as 4 years once our packet is received. So this loan is up to $100,000. The SBA can originate up to a $2 million loan, but with our resources, we're really only able to provide $100,000 upfront. And it is a 90-day term note, and we ask that we receive a commitment letter from the SBA. So I've also included in here the links to the applications. So this application, we're actually working on it currently, but it's essentially our direct loan application that just needs to be filled out and signed, and along with that commitment letter from the SBA, and we can turn these around on a relatively quick time frame. Just going to look at the questions here real quick. Okay. So there is a question about the best way to value business assets without appraisals, and sometimes the balance sheet does not reflect current market value of business assets. I would say, Nikki, to do the best that you can, we, like you, would typically go for a balance sheet valuation. So that would be my advice on that. Or if there's, you know, any other documentation that the borrower can provide you. We understand that potentially the documentation could be limited because of the situation we're in. We ask that you do your best to obtain what you can and provide the most accurate information that you can. The next product that we're originating is a FAME loan direct to the borrower. So we're asking that this be essentially a last resort, that the borrower, if a business goes to you, that you try to help them as best you can. If no other options are available, we do have this FAME direct program. We've limited the loan amount to $50,000 in an effort to spread the loans amongst more individuals, because we are capping this program along with the SBA one at $5 million, excuse me. We are decreasing our commitment fee. So typically on these programs, it's 1%, and we're now at 0.5%. And again, we're requiring an ABA filing despite lien position on these loans. We have a lesser amount of paperwork in order to underwrite these on a more expedited basis. So we are still requiring documents, financials, personal financial statements, debt schedule, and a listing of those items required are within the link right underneath the outline of this program. This product will have a 12-month term on it as well, with flexible amortization depending on how the collateral looks and the individual needs of that business owner. I'm going to pause for a second and just get to some. Will the slides be sent? Yes, these slides will be emailed to everyone along with the recording of the webinar will all be on our website. Are these two programs funded at $5 million total or $5 million each? So we have allocated $5 million total on these. However, keep in mind that SBA one turns around relatively quickly. So if we originate that and it's paid back, we can include that back into that pool of money. The rate on the direct loan is Wall Street Journal Prime minus 1% commit. Next question, COVID-19 relief interim SBA applied for with lender. That the SBA interim loan is applied for directly at FAME, and they can do that right through the website or using the link within the PowerPoint presentation. But it is on our website. If you go under business, COVID-19 relief programs, the website, the application and the listing of required items to apply is in there. And make slides as soon as possible and early as this afternoon. Did I answer? Okay, got all those. Next slide, please, Mila. So the last program I'm going to briefly touch on is a program that FAME was asked to administer on behalf of the state treasurer's office through emergency legislation. About a week ago, Tuesday evening, the legislature approved an emergency bill that included this consumer loan. So unlike commercial programs that we're very much used to, this is a consumer program that the legislature has set aside $500,000 to fund reserves for about $5 million in loans. So an eligible Mainer is allowed to apply for up to $5,000, one loan per month for no more than 3 times. So essentially the $5,000 loan deducts any unemployment benefits that the borrower is or could not hasn't been provided. So there are the customers are not applying through FAME. This is something that has been a little confusing for eligible Maine residents who are coming to us looking to apply for this loan. The borrowers need to be going to the banks. So the participants, lenders that choose, or I'm sorry, banks that choose to apply or choose to be part of the program are certainly able to do so. I would encourage anyone that's interested to go to the website, review the law that was laid out, and certainly ask any questions if you're considering it. There is a rate structure, a deferral, a grace period on the loan that is required, as well as some repayment specifics that are included in the law, as well as a fact sheet that we have made available on our website. So if you follow that link on the bottom of the slide, it will take you right to that and provide further information. Today, I believe there is one credit union that has agreed to participate. However, they haven't gotten back to me on whether or not that that they want to share that on our website. So I'm going to pause for a moment and look at questions. Will FAME provide templates for the affidavits required, and when will this program begin? The affidavits are actually linked directly on our website. We did template those for you, and I don't see can. There's also a button on our website that allows you to log your loans that you've initiated or originated on a daily basis. So as part of the program, FAME is required to track the amount of loans originated to make sure that that $5 million threshold hasn't been met or isn't close to being met. Given that there's only a limited amount of reserves to pay insurance claims, we want to make sure that we are informing all of those lending institutions that are participating what that level of is program. I'm just reading here real quickly. There aren't any banks that are promoting this program yet. However, again, we are hopeful that some will enter into the program. Just checking on, let's see. For the business direct loan program, do borrowers need to be declined by the bank before applying? The short answer to that is yes. There is a ask when people apply. We are not requiring that they provide an actual decline letter from the bank. We are asking the question, and there is wording within the promissory note that they sign that indicates that they have been declined by a lending institution. And can you go to the last slide, Myla, I think, which is just for questions. Does anyone have any further questions? Again, the slide presentation as well as a recording will be available on the shortly, sent out to everyone. I'm just getting one more questions. Are the consumer loans totaling $5,000 or up to $15,000? So the consumer loans are, essentially, you can get, an individual can qualify for one loan up to $5,000 every 30 days for no more than 3 months. So if they qualified for the $5,000 and they applied each month, then yes, they are eligible for a total of up to $15,000, but given in up to $5,000 increments. If that's hopefully your question. Pause and see if there's any further questions. And if not, well, we really appreciate everyone coming in today and listening to us. If you have anything else, you can certainly email me directly, or any of the loan officers are ready to help, and we're all trying to get through this together. So thanks for all you're doing on your end, and we look forward to working with you. Looks like there's a couple more questions. Okay. Oh, this is a great question. How are paper applications that are going through FAME being affected in regards to how long it's going to take them to get processed. So I'm going to answer that kind of twofold. The first one, if you have existing direct loan applications or existing paper commercial loan apps, so going through that traditional underwriting process, those are being completed on a priority basis as long as we have everything in place. If we're missing information, then that's going to be information. It will be done as we get the completed app. If you're referring to the COVID-19 direct loans, those are being done on a first come, first served basis. We've beefed up our lender team and our underwriting team a little bit to try to help with the volume we're getting. Just to put it in context, over the last 2 days, we've gotten about 65 applications. So we are trying to work through those as quickly as we can with that expedited underwriting process. That question. On the consumer loan product, is the FAME refund on defaulted loans on a first come, first served basis? So the answer to that is yes. The loan defaults will be processed on a first come, first served basis on the insurance claim. So if you have one of the consumer loan borrowers that defaults, you can issue an insurance request, and once FAME determines that it's eligible, we will fund the claim from that pool of $500,000. Whichever comes first, whether or there's a 10% default rate in the overall pool of $5 million worth of loans. If a bank, then the subsequent question, if a bank gives up to $15,000 to a borrower and they default, how do we know if we will have a guarantee if other defaults come in? That's a really great question. We are trying, this is one of the reasons we feel that there is hesitation to commit to this program on the bank, from the bank's perspective. So the short answer is you won't have a guarantee. There's the pool of funds is there. That doesn't mean the legislature won't appropriate to this. Sure. But currently that is the pool of money that we have to fund losses in that program. Another question, what is credit criteria for these loans? I'll answer that generally. We don't have a credit score cutoff for any of these loans that they'd automatically be declined if there was a credit score below X. We are trying to look at them on a one-off basis and determine, FAME's kind of known for our flexibility, and we're trying to do that. And with that, we are looking at everything. We make sure a few things have happened, that they are affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. If this is a company that was already in trouble and now they're applying for a FAME direct loan, they probably aren't going to be eligible. Additionally, I will mention we've been getting some applications of related companies, each separately applying for the $50,000 FAME direct loan limit. I do want to be clear, they'd be eligible for one of those, and if they wish to continue to apply through our non-COVID related programs to get those higher loan limits, they certainly can do that. I hope that answers the question about credit. Next question, are self-employed individuals, salon owners, eligible for the consumer program? I believe the answer to that is yes. I may defer to Chris on that one if he's still on and able to speak to that.
Yes, I'm still on, and yes, that's the case.
Okay, great. The next question, on an existing FAME insured line of credit, how are the increase requests handled if the increase is under $80,000 in the regular OLA? So if it's an existing FAME insured loan, ask increase handled as they typically are, and that would be done outside of the COVID-19 designation where they're an existing FAME insured loan. I believe I got to all the questions. I'm just scrolling up. Oh, Can the affidavit be docu-signed? Chris, I'll defer. Chris Roney is our general counsel, and he's on the call with me. Can you help with that question, Chris, about the docu-signing?
Sure, Jen. So that's a great question, actually. The law requires an affidavit, and so that requires by planning to have witnessed and sign it as well. So I'm not sure how that gets accomplished without a in-person meeting with the borrower and with a notary. So in theory, the documents could be docu-signed, but I don't see how you get a notary that way. So that is another flaw in the program design that we didn't have much input in.
Thanks, Chris. The next question for the direct business program: will FAME licenses close experiencing significant revenue decreases, i.e. restaurant or B&B? So I'd answer that by saying, if we're talking the COVID-19 program and the reason for closure is the pandemic, then yes, they would be eligible. For the FAME Direct program, if you're looking for more than that $50,000 threshold, I would say as long that they would be eligible for that, given if they're currently closed because of what's going on. So yes, so long as they weren't closed prior to the pandemic. Does anyone have any further questions? If not, we really appreciate your time today. And again, certainly feel free to send questions to us that you might think of after. But we appreciate everyone attending, and stay safe and have a great day.